Hey guys, so I actually zoomed in a little bit, and today we're going to be doing the trim for part 3. I used a metal 1/4-inch trim, and I cut it to size on a metal chop saw. But you can do it with anything. You can clamp it down to the table and use a jigsaw. I know a lot of people have jigsaws. What a mess, eh? And all these Uline things come every day. Every day. Crazy. Anyway. Metal trim, 1/4-inch, although you can make it a bit wider. For example, your brad nail holes are a bit deeper into the body. But a 1/4-inch covers the trim perfectly for me. And I like the sleek look of a thinner trim profile. We're gonna do side, top, oops. Oh gosh. Did I say side? I guess it's the side. Top, side, top, side, side. Kind of just like that. And then we're going to use this corner cover piece. I'll put a link in the description to kind of cover it all. Just like that. And this is the tricky part. Sorry, but that's some work going on back there. The tricky part is because in this case it's metal, so how do you secure it to the body? And I'm going to try, because I actually don't remember what we did last year. Otherwise, I might have to just go buy one. It doesn't hold worth for nothing. Let's try another screw. Sometimes it's just a faulty screw. It's not perfect. That one feels better. There you go. So that worked great. And I think for these other ones, what I'm going to do is... The problem with these self-tapping one is they don't have a convex head. So it doesn't sit very well. On the side, it doesn't really matter, but I think on the front, you want something a bit smoother. But that worked. I like that. So I'm going to use them everywhere except for the front and maybe the top. I'll just start working with them and see what happens. But that worked. And the first one's hard because you're kind of holding it all in, trying to prevent it from like falling apart. So now that that's in, we can relax a little bit. This one might tap up a bit. There you go. Let's do the other side. Put this one on first, then the top one on. Doing it this way, where this one is last. So you can see that this one on the side, and then we got this one on top. It doesn't really matter because it's going to be covered. As long as it's kind of consistent, you can't really see anything, then we're working fine. Again, make sure over here that the metal is not sticking out if you are using metal. I would say metal is the most challenging material because you have to kind of punch through it. I do it at an ever so slight angle down, just so it gets into the meat of the photo booth. Okay, as you saw that fell off, that's okay. Metal's challenging, although we've used metal in the past. There we go. Not too much. You don't want it to deform, so just watch it. Watch so that it doesn't deform. So that's pretty much the thread done. Let's reverse it. The nice thing about this is that the sides won't impede if you use 1/4 inch trim. So of course, yeah, in this case, like if you're using trim, it pretty much has to be a 1/4 inch. Maybe you can get away with half inch, or for sure 3/8. But these shelf slots won't work if the trim is too wide, or you'll have to notch them out in the appropriate area. But again, it doesn't have to be metal. Metal trims, again, it is a little bit difficult to work with. So I would almost suggest not using metal. If you can find some sort of plastic trim, it might be easier. But if you're skilled, metal is good. If you're not skilled, metal will be tricky. So that's the only thing there. Let's put that one there. Let's get one of these on. That's how I'm putting it on, kind of like that. Okay. And let's get it in. This one really wants to stick out. Ah, that's a bit better. It was kind of pushing that metal piece out. So I removed the screw and pushed it in again. But hopefully this is giving you an idea. It's not rocket science. And actually, I'm kind of liking these self-tapping screws. They don't just stick out a little bit, but that's okay. That gives it character. Yeah, again, a bit of a challenge. But this is really solid. Once it's in there, it's fairly solid. I don't even know if I need any on top. But it's always a good idea to throw something on top. And let me, instead of time-lapsing it, I'll show you slowly how we're doing it on the bottom. Same thing, it's just in reverse. Instead of like this, okay, it's the opposite. It's like this. But in this case, we have to flip it around, okay? So hopefully this gives you some help. Because technically, you could do it like this. You could do it like this. I definitely prefer it like that. Okay, so that the bottom is mostly protected. That's kind of being stuffed the most. Not the sides. It wouldn't make sense to do it like this, you know? So I'm doing it like that. That's important, I think. Let's see what we got here. It's a bit of a... Oh, and by the way, so I had some old ones. These ones have been drilled prior. None of these are drilled. Just a couple of the edges ones were drilled prior, in case you're wondering about that. These ones weren't on the top, I believe, but these two are. Mostly because I have these that haven't been drilled, but obviously it's actually difficult to get this sticker off. I found this edging in the... Let's see the butt. That's the top. No, actually, another piece. we go. So again, like this. And let's get it in, nice and slow. Oh. You don't want to strip it, so as soon as it gets close to the material, you slow down, just tighten it up. You don't want to strip the material. If you keep spinning it, it's going to wear away that natural, where kind of the plastic melts together with that, with the metal there, and it's just going to spin it and it's going to be loose in there. So don't strip it. Once it gets close, you just want to You could technically glue this as well. I don't see why that's a problem, especially if it's not metal. You could probably just shoot up some glue in there. Shoot up is probably the wrong terminology here. See, I'm stripping it there. I stripped it. So I actually have a longer piece. It should just bore into the wood underneath without too much of a problem. Ooh, this is much thicker. Okay, let me just, should be okay if one is like a little bit stripped. It's not ideal, but. Yeah, so I'll probably replace it with a longer piece in the future because it's now stripped. That's an example of what happens when you strip it. It's okay because there's multiple screws holding them together. Perfect. Not stripped, not deformed. And one more piece. Here you go. Get a better angle here. And I'm gonna do the side first. There we go. Perfect. I am pushing fairly hard, so take note of that, especially if it's metal trim. I found it in a door section of Home Depot. And again, I'm pushing fairly hard, like pretty much as hard as I can, and then it seems to work the best that way. But there you go. I still am gonna, yeah, I'll do the tops really quick, and then let's talk about it. There you have it, guys, gals. Isn't that looking good? You know, and it's solid. I mean, it's solid. Now, as a final touch, what I'm going to do is flip it over upside down and put these carpet protectors on, just to make sure it's not going to scuff up anybody's table. And there you have it. Carpet protectors. Nice and smooth. Well, the table isn't flat. And I actually doubled them up, so there's a bit of, they stick out a bit. This one might actually need to be tripled up. I only have this small one, but that should do. It looks like the material is just deeper in this way. It won't actually make it unlevel. There we go. Nice and smooth. That's perfect. That's perfect. So, that's part 3. The screws that I used were 6 by 1/2 self-tapping, metal self-drilling, self-tapping screws. Or I was going to use these smaller ones, which are 6 by 3/4 or so. But you would then need some sort of, to make some sort of pilot hole so that these can go into them. That's probably the method I would recommend. Just to save time and get on with it, essentially, and crack on, we decided to just use these 6 by 1/2. And they kind of have like a bulbous head. That's the one thing that I'm not entirely happy with, but I might actually go around and replace them. Especially now that there's a hole in there. Oh. What am I doing? I might just go around and replace them really quick with these there. Just so it gives it a bit of a lower profile. And because they're 3/4, because you don't really want to keep re-drilling into the same material, but because these ones are a 1/4 of an inch longer, they are kind of tapping into new material and not really causing any issues there. And there you go, it's going to be much smoother. So I might go around and do that really quick, but that's basically it. 6 by 1/2 self-tapping, or something with a convex shape like this, okay, that 3/4 or so, and it's going to work really well if you have some sort of pilot hole you can drill in before. There you have it, that's the trim. Next time, we're going to work on the shelvings for part 4, and potentially we can throw in some holes. We'll see if we can make that into 2 parts, or just have it all in the same part. But yeah, let's get into it for next time, part 4, shelving.